Good morning, class. There are 4 words in English that every learner struggles with at some point. These words strike fear into even the most advanced students. Their meanings seem similar or overly complicated. Understanding them could be impossible, but it's really not. With a little help, you will finally learn how to use them properly. That's because today I am going to tell you which words you should say when you speak English. We have a lot to talk about, so let's go. For this lesson, we'll split the 4 words into 2 groups. The first pair is say and tell, and the other will be talk and speak. Say and tell have some things in common and are mixed up a lot. The same goes for speak and talk, which are also very close but have a few key differences. Let's start with say and tell. To help clear up these two, we will use the phrase reported speech. This refers to something that was said by someone else. Reported speech sounds like this. The teacher said, "Students, please quiet down." You can see that the sentence includes exactly what the teacher said. This is the reason authors use the word said a lot in their writing. To make a complete sentence, the only thing that is needed after say is what was spoken. Now, tell is also used to report information or ideas. Unlike say, however, tell needs to refer to a person with whom that information was shared. Let's change the previous sentence with say to a sentence with tell. The teacher told the class to quiet down. You will notice here that the class follows the verb tell instead of what the teacher said. Using tell and then what was said can sound awkward. After looking at a few sentences with say and tell, you will notice a difference in structure. Tell does not have the preposition to between it and the person. The sentences with say always require to before the person. This is very important and something a lot of learners forget. Never say, "I told to my friend," or "he say me something." This rule is always true, and you should do your best to remember it. Think of the verb tell as meaning say to. So if you add another to after tell, you are really saying, "I said to my friend," which does not sound good. We can now put say and tell in a sentence and find out what words go with both. Say needs to have to between it and the listener. The verb say does not need to have the listener to make a complete sentence, whereas tell does. Sometimes, though, a sentence with tell can leave out the listener if they are understood. There are a few nouns that get paired with tell, such as story, lie, and joke. These are understood as being told to whomever is listening to the speaker. You cannot tell a lie, joke, or story without someone listening. Lastly, because tell is not for specific speech, you can use it with the prepositions of and about. If you do this, you have to use a noun, noun phrase, or verb with an ing ending after it. Lastly, an important use of tell is for instructions or commands. This is because it is for speech that is directed at someone. It has a much stronger implication than say. In the sentence, "Her mom told her to clean her room," we understand that the mother is not asking her daughter to do something. She is expressing in a firm tone that if she does not clean her room, the mother will be upset. With say and tell cleared up, we can move on to the last 2 verbs. Speak and talk are also similar. These 2 verbs refer to using a voice to express your thoughts. Whereas say and tell need to have either a phrase or person after them to make a complete sentence, speak and talk do not. The words he talked and he spoke are complete sentences, but he told and he said are not. With that understood, let's see what makes talk different from speak. Speak is the most basic of all the verbs. You can't talk, say something, or tell someone something if you cannot speak. Two things are important to remember with this verb. The first is that it is more formal than talk, and the second is that it is only one way. The teacher can speak to the class, but the class does not need to speak back. This makes it the verb we use for things like presentations, or addressing an audience, and therefore making it more formal than talk. Talk is also using your voice for expression. But where speak is a one-way action, talk is two-way. Both people participate in a sentence with talk. You can have the two parties be the subject, as in, we talked, or he and I talked. Try not to use talk for specific information, though. It's more about the overall topic and less about details. Talk is also less formal than speak. If the teacher says, "I will speak to you after class," then the matter is serious. But if the teacher says, "We'll talk after class," then you should be a little less worried. The two-way implication of talk makes it less appropriate for conversations involving a person of higher status. Talk implies equal participation, whereas speak does not. One clear rule is that we must use speak with a language. This is because using a language is the ability to express thoughts with something like your voice, which is the exact definition of speak. We don't talk, say, or tell a language. If a language comes after the main verb in the sentence, then the verb should probably be speak. You can add extra information to sentences with speak and talk in the same way. Just like say, you need to add to before a person, as in, I talked to my friend this morning, and I spoke to my boss this morning. If you want to add information about the topic that you discussed, then use about. Like, I talked to my friend about the trip, and I spoke to my boss about a raise. Okay, so we should probably review say and tell. Say is for reporting exactly what was said. This is why the word said is used a lot in stories where people are talking. Tell is for one person talking to another person. We use tell for instructions and commands. Say does not need the listener as an object, whereas tell needs to have a second person. Therefore, you need to between say and the second person, but not with tell. Tell is paired with certain nouns like story, lie, or joke. Finally, because tell is not for details, you can use about or of, followed by a noun, noun phrase, or ing verb. Let's sum up speak and talk as well. Both verbs are for the basic ability of expressing thoughts or ideas using your voice. Speak is a formal one-way communication, and talk is less formal and requires both parties to participate. Speak is the main verb for things like presentations or talking to a large group of people. You will often see both of these verbs used with phrases like with someone and about something. And finally, speak is the only verb to use if a language is the subject of the sentence. It all comes down to this. Just a little quiz to see if you have really been paying attention. Pause the video and pick the right verb for each sentence. There's only 5 questions, so it's not too bad. We'll go over the answers after you're done. Good luck! Alright, I hope you got it all done. Let's see if you passed the quiz. Number 1 starts with the main verb, and then the person who is listening. Because the word to does not come before me, then the answer has to be tell. The second question does have the word to before the listener. However, there is no phrase afterwards like about something. We are asking about the words themselves and not the subject of the words, so the only answer that fits is say. Number 3 is about a person addressing a group of people from the TV. The people have no way to communicate back, making it a one-way action. And a one-way action is for the verb speak. Next, number 4 has we as the subject of the verb. The only verb that goes with we is talk. Okay, so I lied a little bit and put 2 blanks for number 5. Hopefully you're not too mad at me. Anyway, the first verb does not have to between it and the object, making tell the only answer for the first blank. The second blank has to before the listener but does not have a phrase with about at the end, meaning we are referring to the words themselves. And finally, since this sentence is in the past tense, said is the right answer. I hope this lesson has helped you at least a little. These 4 verbs are a common source of confusion for students, which I understand completely, but there is nothing that a little practice and concentration can't solve. If I answered any questions you had, or you just liked hearing my voice, then it would be awesome if you clicked the thumbs up down there. There's also a subscribe button that, if you click on, will tell you when I post a new video. Thanks for listening. Class dismissed.